Welcome back, champions. It's Shindy with Champion Select. Guys, how we doing? Unleashed preview season is officially over. We have the entire set list for Unleashed, which comes out, I believe, in about a little over a month and a half. And today, I just wanted to sit down and we're going to go over some of the cards to look out for in the set. Some of the best cards that we have identified here on the channel that you should be looking out for if you're going to be prepping packs, you're going to be buying singles. And as always, hit that subscribe button down below. We got a lot of fun content planned for the Unleashed season. And as always, let's get into it. Quick little disclaimer as we get into talking about some of these cards. This isn't the 100% list of all the cards you should be looking out for. Obviously, some cards could ultimately end up being better, just depending on how the meta shakes up. But starting off strong, we got one of my favorite cards from the set, Trevor Snoozebottom, 3 for 3 in green. Has shield. When I hold, play a ready sprite unit with temporary here. So it's going to be playing it on the base, but it will be ready. So you're able to, sort of move it off the battlefield. You can either give it ganking to move over to the other battlefield. You can leave it there and move Trevor off the battlefield. That way you just have a little something to protect that battlefield when he leaves. This is an absolutely incredible card. I see this as a 3 for 4 when it's holding, and then you can basically say another +3 when he holds. Phenomenal card. I think people aren't giving this card its dues. This is a phenomenal card, and things like Ari with those hold strategies. Lilia as well, getting those temporary units to reduce the cost of her legend spell. Phenomenal card. I think people are really sleeping on this card. I think it'll probably be played in most green decks. Next up, we have Nami. Following with that green trend, Nami Headstrong, 3 for 3. You can pay a green as additional cost. If you pay the additional cost, stun an enemy unit. So you're able to stun an enemy unit anywhere. If there's a unit on a battlefield for a battlefield you want to go in and take, you pay that additional cost, you stun it. Phenomenal card. Probably one of the best 3-drops in the game that we've currently seen. Obviously, no Nami champion or legend unit yet, so you can't play from the champion zone, but great card. When you hold, the next time you play a unit this turn, ready it and buff it. So giving that accelerate, getting that buff on the unit that you play, if obviously she held. Great card. I think Ari is going to definitely be one of the better decks coming out in this in Spirit for or Unleashed. Not only that, with Lilia as well. I mean, I could definitely see Lilia being played, especially with some of those sprite tokens not coming in readied. Maybe you play that one blue spell that you summon two units. One of them gets buffed and comes in readied. There's rolls out there where that's a phenomenal strategy. Keeping on with the green theme, we got Alpha Wildclaw, 6 for 7 and 2 green recycles. It has tank. Your units here with less might than me can't be chosen by enemy spells and abilities. So basically, and this works in the base as well, something to keep in mind. So if you have all of your units in the base, you're on 6 points, you're waiting to push into the 7th point. If all of your units are in base with less than 7 might, they can't be targeted by spells or abilities. So, it keeps you safe from things like Singularity, just basically anything that can mess with your backline. Falling Star, phenomenal card. I think people are really underestimating how powerful this card is, because it works anywhere that you have your units with the same place. They can't be targeted at all. Great card. Arguably top 10 in the set. People are sleeping on this card. This card's gonna be absolutely phenomenal. It is a bit slow, but if you're able to if you give your units hexproof, anything under 7 hexproof, insane, absolutely insane. Except we have Vilemaw, 8 for 8 and 2 green recycle. Ambush, enemy units here with less might than me don't deal combat damage. So not only are they not dealing combat damage, you hold and draw 1 as well. Like, great card. I think Dazzling Aurora Yi playing this is going to be crazy. I mean, maybe anything less than 8 might, and then you could also buff it as well. Give it those disciplines, give it those on guards. If it's holding alone on Yi, it's got 10. Nothing with 10 or less might deals combat damage to it. Oh, what a card. I think Dazzling Aurora Yi is probably going to be top 5, top 10 decks in format. Great card, especially when we consider some of the other orange, those big orange units that are coming out that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. Great card. I love this. Going with that really theme of Vilemaw's Lair. You're not stuck in here with, I'm not stuck in here with you, you're stuck in here with me, sort of deal. Phenomenal card. You put this on something like a Vilemaw's Lair, really going with that synergy there. Great card. Just sitting there, you're gonna be holding, drawing 1 every turn. I love this card so much. Next up, we have Lilia, Fey Fawn. 3 for 3, can be in the champion zone because Lilia obviously is one of the legends. When I move from a location, play a 3 sprite unit with temporary there. So, obviously not doing a lot of work. If you play her on turn 3 and then move her into one of your battlefields, she's leaving a token behind in the base that really isn't doing anything. But when you move her from a battlefield, so if you either gank over or leave back to base, she's leaving a 3 might unit there, with temporary, obviously. It is decreasing the cost of the legend spell. But it's also just, if you're leaving those battlefields, you're leaving something behind to buff or, defend on, when your opponent comes in. That's incredibly strong. That's one of the issues with leaving those battlefields. It's like you're giving your opponent a free score, unless you have something like Wages of Pain and things like that to, really stop them. But this and Lilia, reducing the cost of that legend ability, phenomenal card. You could play it turn 1 going second, right from the champ zone. Great card. Next we have Gutter Palace. People really aren't realizing how good this card is. If you build your entire deck around trying to have your win con be Gutter Palace, I think this will happen way more times than people realize. All you gotta do is have 4 cards in hand and 4 units at a battlefield. Especially when you consider those temporary units, you're able to use those temporary units to have those 4 as well. You're able to discard 1 and tap it to play a 1 bird token. So even if you aren't hitting Gutter Palace within the next few turns, it is still being able to do something. We're gonna see some lot of creative things with this card. Entire decks are gonna be built around it. Just being able to win the game just straight up without having you don't care about points. If you're running a Gutter Palace deck, you don't care about points at all. Your entire win con is just getting 4 and getting 4. And I mean, it's not hard. It's not the hardest thing in the world to do. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but when you consider those temporary units, I mean, I love this card. We're going to see some crazy stuff happen. I think we're going to see some blowouts and some tournaments happen with this as well. And how do you play around it, right? Maybe gear destruction. Maybe you have to sideboard even more gear destruction, but great card. Next up, we have Determined Sentry. A 1 for 1. I can't move to base. People are going to be like, Shinya, why are we talking about a 1 for 1? Who cares? Well, first and foremost, this is the first true 1-drop in the game. 1-drops didn't exist before this on a card, obviously. I can't move to base. You don't care about, your 1-drops coming back to base. You move them into a battlefield, and you don't care if they die. You've already scored a point off them. Imagine going first, having 2 of these in your hand, moving both of them up to score on both battlefields, and generally speaking, your opponent will probably only able to deal with 1 of the units. This could be and even if they can't, this is a free 4 points. Going first, move in, obviously after they've readied. Going first, play 2 of them. Your opponent's turn, they play their 2 or 3 drop. Coming back to you, you move both of them up to both battlefields. You score 2 points, and then you still have 4 mana open. You have 4 mana to deal with some of their stuff when they push in. Things like punch first. You're going to be losing 2 of your runes. You could double punch first and blow them out of the water with 11 worth of might on one battlefield, or 6 and 6. I mean, there's crazy stuff you can do, and then all of a sudden you're at 4 points. You've accelerated the game significantly. If you're playing an orange aggro deck, and all of a sudden they've moved that unit in, that unit dies because you punch firsted. Now all of a sudden, it's coming back to you, and you're on 6 points if you have both of them still at the battlefield. And then from there, you slowly just claw your way back into the game. This really enables the aggro strategy to work in orange, just pushing into those bases and just getting those points early. On the orange stream, we have Nidalee, 3 and an orange recycle for 4. Ambush, when I win a combat, draw 1. Eat your hot art, Kiana. Obviously, Kiana had the ability to channel a rune exhausted instead for conquering. But and you know what? I just thought about it. It's winning a combat. It's not even on conquering. I didn't even realize that before. Even better than Kiana, now that I sit down and actually read the card. Obviously, having that ambush, that tagline, very good. Being able to drop a 4 might unit as a reaction where your opponent has pushed into a battlefield where you control. Great card. She's winning those combats on defense. You're drawing a card. Ooh, incredible. You're going to get so much value out of this card. I don't want to say this is going to be played in most orange decks, but I mean, look at Kiana. I mean, Kiana, I understand, has deflect, but Kiana has played so much in orange, and I think This one probably won't outright replace Kiana, although it might, depending on how target heavy and how spell heavy the meta becomes, because that deflect is very powerful, but only having to pay 3 instead of that 4 is so good, especially if we consider, you can punch first as well, having this be a 9 might unit. Oof, incredible. Next up, we have probably one of my favorite cards in the set, Elder Dragon. A 12 and 4 orange recycle for 10. Any amount of damage is enough to kill enemy units. So read that again. It's only enemy units, so it's not your units. So it's not in a constant Imperial Decree. It's Imperial Decree only for you. Only for you. So anything that you do to your opponents, they instantly die. When you play me, choose up to 1 enemy unit at each location. Deal 1 to them. So this is probably only going to be played in those Dazzling Aurora decks. You flip this off a Dazzling Aurora. You hit both battlefields and your opponent's base. You're killing 3 units that they have spread out. Phenomenal card. I love this card so much. I think this is going to make Dazzling Aurora probably one of the best decks in the format. If not top 5, at least top 6 or 7. I mean, it's going to be such a good card. It's an auto include in probably every Dazzling Aurora deck. I don't see any world where you don't put this in Dazzling Aurora. It's so good. Next up, we have Rengar Trophy Hunter, 5 and an orange recycle for 6, got the ambush tagline. I can be played to in a battlefield where there are enemy units, even if you don't have units there. So, again, sort of like a Dead Bloom Predator, but you're able to ambush this, so play this from your hand. If an opponent moves up to contest an open battlefield, and you just want to say, nope, no thank you, I will be moving into that battlefield with Rengar. I love this card so incredibly much. Having that Dead Bloom Predator with reaction, obviously being a couple mana less and 2 might less, great card. This is gonna really enable those orange sort of tempo-y decks where you're sort of brawling them and taking really advantage of your big beefy units in that mid game tempo. I love this card so much. This is gonna be probably, I don't want to say top 10 cards in the set because I think it's still a little on the weaker end compared to some of the things that we've seen, but 5 or 6 alone is such a great stat line. Next up, going into purple, we have Starcrossed, a 3 and a purple reaction. Return a friendly unit and an enemy unit to their owner's hands. So purple, you're really never, I'm not going to say never. You're not mad about returning things to your own hand a lot of the time. Especially when there's a lot of Edge of the Battlefield effects, especially when there's a lot of, situational things like Overzealous Fan and Treasure Hunter that you may not want to lose. And then generally, if you're using this correctly, returning something that your opponent played, you're going to want to do this after they've buffed it up, or after, they spent a lot of mana to do it, and then return it to your opponent's hand. It is defiable. It is not so fastable, because you are choosing, on not so fast. Some things to keep in mind, but I love this card so much. I don't know how they're printing all this for purple, but yeah, I don't know if every purple deck is going to run it. I do believe those control heavy purple decks are going to run it, but great card. Next up, Existential Dread. I think this is probably my pick for one of the best cards, probably top 3 in the set. 1 for purple, action, repeat 2. Stun an attacking enemy unit. If it's already stunned, return it to its owner's hand instead. So I believe this might be the first time purple is getting an outright stun. Something to keep in mind there. But then paying that 2 to, this is basically a 3 mana, 1 purple rebuke, only on attack. But, just having that utility just to drop a stun on something big that your opponent is pushing in with. And then if it turns out it's way too big of a threat, if you want to just return it to your opponent's hand instead, you're never mad about paying the additional 2. It is a little bit weird having to go on that 3 cost, but if Ezreal doesn't get banned tomorrow, or Ezreal doesn't get changed tomorrow, Vex as well. This combos with Vex, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Great card. People are sleeping on this card. I see a couple naysayers and different chats and things like that, not exactly realizing how actually good this card is. Next up, we have Angular Beast, a 5 for 5 and a purple recycle. When you play me, return all units with 2 or less to their owner's hands. If Victor is going to be one of the big things in the meta, I think this will be a sideboard, probably 2 or 3 of minimum. But even just playing this in your main board, there is a lot of units that are 2 or less, and bouncing them, getting a free rebuke onto those cards. Phenomenal card. Really depends on how the meta sort of shakes up. If those temporary decks, like things like LeBlanc and Lilia, those are obviously, those temporary sprites are at 3 mana or 3 might. You probably won't see this played a ton, but if Victor starts to rear its head up, great, phenomenal card. At least you're gonna play this in your sideboard if the meta is really heavy with 2 or less might units. Next up, we have Abandon, a 2-mana spell and purple reaction. Counter a spell, return it to its owner's hand instead of putting it in the trash. So, first off, straight up just better than Hard Bargain. And you're getting Predict on top of it as well. Why did they give it Predict as well? They shouldn't have given it Predict. Yeah, better than Hard Bargain, because, you know, in Hard Bargain, a lot of situations they're able to pay that 2 or 4 depending on how you cast it. Putting it back into their hand is not that big of a deal, because now you know that is in their hand, and now you can sort of play around it. So having a little bit of that hand knowledge on the card, and then predicting, look at the top card of your deck, just knowing what's coming up next. Great. I don't understand why they gave purple another counter spell. Phenomenal card. This will probably be a 2 or 3 of. I'm not going to say it's going to replace Hard Bargain, but, you know, hard to say. Depends on how much, you know, sort of Vex is still going to be played on those purple mid-rangey decks. But great card. Next up, we have Sinister Poro. 2 and a purple for 1. When I attack, you may pay 1 to move an enemy unit here to its base. So basically, fight or flight on a body. Obviously, when you're attacking in, you have to pay that 1 to move them away, but, you know, when you're pushing in with a couple other units on this card, you know, he may die, but just being able to bounce something back, having that additional fight or flight, and if it stays alive, if you get more than 1 bounce out of this card, it's great. If you get 1 bounce out of this card, it's okay. It's not the best card in the world, but if you get 2, 3, 4, 5 bounces, this card gets so much incredible value. A 2-drop, you have to recycle a purple, so you're not happy about playing this going first. Obviously going down to 1 mana, come back on your turn having 3 mana. But, you know, this is a great sort of mid-range. You know, you're happy to draw this sort of, you know, turn 2 to 5, you're happy to draw this. Just having that consistent fight or flight on a body. It's not going to be played in every deck, but it certainly is something to look out for. Next up, we have Bone Skewer, 2 and a purple, hide. Choose a battlefield. An opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a unit from it. They play that unit to the battlefield, ignoring all costs. When they do, stun it. So, you know, you're able to hide this. You're able to hard cast it. If, you know, your opponent pushes in on that battlefield and you've got something hidden, they think it's a fight or flight or a tide turner. You all of a sudden grab something from their deck, grab a big card from their deck. And again, you are choosing it. The person casting it choosing it, not them. You want to bring in one of those big units that you know you can kill. Great card. I love this card so much. I'm surprised it wasn't Pike's signature, but it makes sense having his ult, you know, so that death from above or whatever it's called. This is basically, again, Dirty Rat for all my Hearthstone players out there. You know, forcing them to play a unit onto the battlefield when you know you can deal with it. Or even just hardcasting it on your turn, you know, forcing them onto a battlefield. But something to keep in mind, if that is an unoccupied battlefield and you play this, unless you have some sort of reaction or something to push in as sort of that, you know, so the showdown starts and resolves, they can gain a point. So there's some funny worlds where, you know, you can give your opponent 2 points if you play 2 of these, but that's a small cost to pay when you know you can push in and kill whatever unit they put there because it is stunned. Phenomenal card. I love it so much. Next up, we have Heedless Resurrection. This card's probably going to break the game. 2 and a purple. Reaction. As an additional cost to play this, kill a friendly unit. Play a unit from your trash that costs no more energy and no more power than the unit killed, ignoring its cost. So there's worlds where, you know, you can discard those Brynhilds, play it from your trash. Then all of a sudden you've locked your opponent out on their turn from playing any cards. The Brynhild Headless Resurrection combo is going to be crazy. There's probably more crazy stuff you can do that, you know, people really haven't sat down and thought about. You know, being able to play those Razas back from your trash for, you know, basically for free if you kill something smaller. I love this card so much. I do significantly fear, though, the red-purple combo playing Brynhild on your opponent's turn. You know, sort of, even if they play like something, if they do their sequencing wrong, and you play this in response to like something like an Enter the Battlefield effect, and all of a sudden they straight up can't play cards on their turn. Ooh, there's gonna be some dirty stuff. You're gonna see some baby rages coming out of this card when playing those Brynhilds on your opponent's turn. Next up, one of my favorite cards in set, Baron Nashor, 10 for 12 and 3 purple recycle. As you play me, add the Baron Pit Battlefield token to the board if it's not there already. You do, I enter there. And a lot of people were arguing when this card first came out, oh, it's not going to score you a point. It absolutely does score you a point. I can't be chosen by enemy spells and abilities. Other friendly units have +2. So it's not other friendly units here, it's all friendly units. So other at the battlefields, at your base, they all have +2, just base. You know, sort of having that Master Yi defensibility triggered at all times. I can't be chosen by enemy spells or abilities. You know, that's such an incredible effect. I believe it's Shroud from or Hexproof from Magic the Gathering for all my Magic players out there. Being able to just score a point, you know, then having, you know, if you're playing this like in an Aurora, like in a purple-orange Aurora deck, all of a sudden your opponent has to conquer all 3 battlefields on their turn if they're on 7. And, you know, say you're on 6 or 7, you know, such a good card. People are probably overselling how good the card is. I don't think it's like the best card in the game, but I do think it is a phenomenal card, especially in those Aurora decks. Just dropping this and all of a sudden you've changed sort of the tempo and you've changed sort of the win condition for your opponent. You know, that's a huge thing for you. Next up, we have Diana, 4 for 3 and a purple recycle. Ambush, when you play a spell, give me +2 this turn. So having that Ravenbloom student, but better on a card. She's 4 mana purple recycle, so you can play her going second. And then, you know, pushing in, you know, on that turn 3, buffing her up like crazy. You're going to see some crazy Dynamites coming out with this card. Especially when you couple it with that battlefield where whenever you play a spell, you can give one of your units +1 here. Phenomenal card. Being able to drop this from the champion zone going second. Diana is going to be one of the forces to be reckoned with. That purple-blue combo we already saw as great card. Next up, we have Vex Empathetic. 4 mana for 4. Deflect. When an opponent plays a unit while I'm at a battlefield, stun it. They can't move this turn. Dropping this from the champion zone on turn 2, pushing it on turn 3, and then all of a sudden, you know, your opponent, anything they play is getting stunned. What are we doing here? This card either shouldn't have been printed or it needed a power cost. It needed to be 4 and a purple to play it. This card is just too good. This actually might enable green, purple Vex, obviously her legend colors. It might enable her to be actually a decent deck. Being able to drop this right from the champion zone going second, you know, really getting those values. And then, you know, there's the other purple Vex as well. When she's on a battlefield, your opponent's spells cost, or she's in combat, your opponent's spells cost more, yours cost less. There's gonna be a lot of math coming to Riftbound, guys. Guys, welcome to math. Next up, we have Otacon, 10 for 7 and 3 yellow recycle. You may kill a friendly unit as an additional cost to play me. If you do, I cost 1 less energy for each. It costs 1 power less for each power cost. As ganking, when I attack, the defender must kill one of their units here. So you're able to baited hook something like a Galio. You know, you kill your Galio with baited hook and you're playing this for free. Ooh, dirty. Baited hook decks are going to be crazy. Those deathnell baited hook decks are going to be phenomenal. Obviously, when you baited hook something that has deathnell, you are getting that deathnell effect, so you're able to do some crazy stuff with this. It's hard to say how good those decks will be with how powerful I think like Lilia and Pike and Draven and LeBlanc are already going to be. So we're gonna have to wait and see some testing, but what a crazy card. You obviously have to baited hook into this. You can kill, you know, you can even just kill something like a Galio and just play it outright for, you know, however much mana that might be. You know, you can do this something on one of your deathnell units and just, you know, make it significantly cheaper, but yeah, I love this card so much. The yellow deathnell decks are going to be definitely a big force to be reckoned with. Speaking of yellows, deathnell, sacrifice, a 1 mana reaction. As an additional cost to play this, kill a friendly mighty unit, draw 2 and channel 1 exhausted. So having that hidden blade but better on a card, obviously you can't hide it. You can play this in a reaction to your opponent killing something. So if they're trying to singularity, say, you know, something of yours, and you react and kill it instead, you know, you already know you're going to lose it. It obviously has to be mighty. You're drawing 2 and channeling 1 exhausted in response to them killing their unit that was already going to die, and getting the 2 cards and 1 rune exhausted for, you know, for 1 mana. Phenomenal card. This I don't want to say this is what yellow needed, but yellow definitely needed some more card draw, and I like that it's also centered around killing your own units as well. But phenomenal card. Next up, Thrill the Hunt, Rengar's signature spell, 2 and a recycle reaction, banish a friendly unit, then its owner plays it to any battlefield, ignoring its cost. So we talked about Brynhild earlier. You know, being able to just, if you have a Brynhild out in the field, you know, entering those ETB effects, you know, in reaction to, you know, your opponent playing something that does something when it comes to the battlefield. I play Thrill the Hunt, I banish my Brynhild, it's back on the field. Sorry, you can't play play cards anymore this turn. And guess what? I've also scored a point. So you can play it to any battlefield, right? Not just battlefields you control. I think Rengar is going to be probably one of the best decks in the format, especially with this spell, this signature spell. This might be one of the best signature spells in the game, especially when you consider things like Brynhild are so incredibly powerful. Assuming they don't get banned. Next up, we have a LeBlanc signature spell, Mirror Image, 3 and a 2 recycle. Choose a unit, so it's a unit. It's not just a friendly unit, it's not just an enemy unit. Play a ready reflection unit to your base. Become a copy of that unit and give it temporary. So, you know, your opponent plays a Brynhild. All of a sudden, you've played a Brynhild in you know, the blue and yellow deck, and your opponent can't do anything, you know, now that you've played it. And then there was a card, I can't remember, I think it was LeBlanc, where your temporary units don't die on your upkeep. So keeping those big units around that you're playing Mirror Image on, great card, being able to do some really silly techie stuff. It's going to be an auto-include of 3 in those LeBlanc decks. Having that temporary keyword, there's a lot of interaction with temporary in those LeBlanc decks, can be great. Next up, we have Void Assault, Kha'Zix signature spell, 2 and a recycle. Move a friendly unit, then move an enemy unit. If they both move to a battlefield you don't control, you're the attacker. So basically getting that charm, getting that, you know, sort of ride the wind effect on a card, forcing yourself to get into a fight with your opponent. Great card. I love the thematics of this. Kha'Zix just, you know, doing some sneaky stuff in the battlefield, bringing it in, killing something one-on-one. Great card. Next up, we have Abandoned Hall, the battlefield I was talking a little bit about earlier. When a player plays a spell, they may give a unit they control here +1 this turn. So it has to be at that battlefield. It's here. So you can't do something in your base. But when you're playing those spell slingy decks, those blue decks like Diana's going to love this. Ravenbloom Student's going to love cards like this. Great card. I love this card so much. Probably a little too good in being able to do this multiple times in a turn. You're going to get you're going to see some crazy Dianas and crazy Ravenbloom Students, all I'm going to say. And next up, we have probably my favorite card in the set, the Baron Nashor Ultimate Rarity. We've already talked about Baron Nashor, so this is sort of a little bit of a plus, but I love the art on this. I cannot wait to see it in person, and yeah, it's going to be such a cool looking card. If you pull one of these, I think this card's going to be $3,000 minimum on release. And there we have it. Talking about some of my favorite cards from the set. Guys, let me know down below what you think the strongest card in Unleashed is. Let me know what some other videos you want to see as well. Obviously, we're out of Unleashed preview season. We know all of the cards. I have a lot of different ideas for content planned, but let me know what you guys want to see. And as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're going to be doing a giveaway here at the end of March. We don't know what we're giving away yet. We had a couple ideas from comments down below. And as always, we'll see you next time. Peace.